Welcome back, my followers. I'm your host, JD Knoles, and this is another episode of Knoles Cool Stuff. Today, we're exploring Beijing, China, with our life here with the COVID-19. All right, what has China done right? What has China done wrong? What has America done wrong to make it the most outbreak country around the world with the most infection and most death? What has Mr. Trump or President Trump's done wrong that caused the outbreak in America to be so bad? Here on Knoles Cool Stuff. All right, my followers. So everything you see here on the table is something that you may need to help protect yourself from COVID-19 virus. All right. Some of these are actually from America. When it started happening here in January, I had my family to mail me some stuff here because when it started, you could not find any masks or hand sanitizer here or even gloves anywhere here in China. Everybody was buying them up quickly. The government was taking it to send to doctors and nurses throughout China. So some of these are from America and some of this from China. So let's take a look at the first thing that everybody should have are masks. I know in America, everybody's talking about social distancing, which is very important. But if you're going to go out, wear a mask, okay? And I know, like, President Trump said, I would not wear a mask, but it helps. If I have COVID-19 and I cough now, it's going to spread out everywhere. But if I have a mask, it catches inside the mask and it decreases the amount of chance that I will give it to other people. All right. So here's a mask I bought here in China. It says KF94. All right. It's a cotton blend face mask. It covers the nose all the way to the bottom of the chin. It tightens up around the edges too, which is not bad. All right. The other two I got from America that I had sent here around February time before it got really, really bad in America. And even then it took like almost 6 weeks just to get to here in China. All right. These are just typical face masks, kind of like surgical masks. All right. I got, each box has 10. I got over 100 masks right here alone. And then I also made sure I got at least some N95 face masks. All right. So these are the ones that doctors and nurses would use, in which in America they tell you don't buy these ones so they can save it for the nurses and doctors in America. But I bought this before the whole crisis got really big in America. All right, so get your mask. If you go out, please wear a mask. I go out to take out the trash, I wear a mask. Anytime I leave my door, I wear a mask. All right. Next thing that's very important is hand sanitizer. I keep these larger bottles so when I'm going to come home, I can hand sanitize my hands first when I get in, and then after that, I go wash my hands, okay? That's very important. Wash your hands. Just don't rely on hand sanitizer alone to help you fight COVID-19 if you have it on your hands. All right, so I have the larger bottles that I keep in the house. I got these medium-sized bottles that I got from America, which is Germex. I got these for if I'm going outside and I'm going to be out longer than an hour. They're pretty good. They have a lot in here. And then I have these small carry-on ones right here. So if I'm just going out real quick to the store to grab stuff or grab something to eat, I always carry at least 2 with me. All right. So hand sanitizer. It's not a replacement for washing your hands. All right. This is so if you're out there and you touch something, and like me, every time I touch any object, I automatically pull out the hand sanitizer, sanitize my hand, because I may be out there, I won't be able to find a place to go wash my hands. All right. Next thing that most people may or may not need, but if I know I'm going to the grocery store and I'm going to be touching a lot of stuff, I keep some gloves, disposable gloves. Okay. So these disposable gloves are pretty cool. Right here, just normal, regular disposable gloves. It took me a while to buy these here because nobody was selling them. But when I noticed they did start selling them, I made sure I bought 2 boxes. So I would have a 200 count worth. All right. Like I said, when you come home and you have your gloves on, take them off, throw them away. Do not reuse your disposable gloves. That's why they're called disposable gloves, okay? And then make sure you still wash your hands even though you had gloves on. And toss some hand sanitizer on, just to be safe. You know, it's okay to do hand sanitizer, wash your hands, disposable glove, triple threat, all right, to protect yourself. And remember, with all of these, even when you wear gloves, do not touch your facial area, okay? Just like when you're a cook, you don't want to be touching your face and cooking somebody's food. And the last thing that most people should have is disinfecting wipes, all right? This is to help kill some germs. Do your doorknob handles outside of your door, inside your door, anywhere you touch a lot. I also use it to disinfect groceries sometimes. All right. So these are all the things that you should have in your house to try to keep safe. All right. I know a lot of people say social distancing. That's great. Staying in your house. Staying in your house is great if you could do it. Okay. There's some people that work. You can't stay in your house all the time. All right. But make sure you keep all this with you in your house, in your car, to stay safe. All right, so next segment we're going to talk about is what do I do before I leave the house and when I come back to the house, here on Knoles CoolStuff. All right, so what do I do before I leave my house and go outside? Well, let's take a look. First thing I like to do is get my bag. All right, so I carry my bag. I make sure I have gloves. Now, I only use gloves when I know I'm going to be shopping a lot and touching a lot of stuff. Then I will wear my gloves. I toss it in my bag. Next thing I do, I also have hand sanitizer. I usually carry 2 with me because if I'm not really buying a lot, but I think I might be touching a lot, just kind of a little bit of stuff, I keep this with me, and every time I touch any object when I'm outside, I automatically squirt some hand sanitizer in my hand, rub it. But even though I do that, I still make sure I never touch my face, all right? You know, hand sanitizer is good, but don't touch your face still until you go home and wash your hands, all right? I put it in my bag. Next day, before I go out, what else do I do? Well, I got everything in my bag. Now I have to get ready to go out. So I usually keep my bag up front like this so I can access everything right away. Now, I know a lot of people in America say, oh, I don't want to wear a mask. Mask doesn't help, but a mask does help. If I have COVID-19 and I sneeze or cough and I have a mask, it's going to go into the mask. If I don't have the mask, it's going to go out in the air, droplets in the air and then on surfaces, and can infect other people. All right. So what I like to do, just to be safe, on the safe side, is I wear 2 masks. So I have this mask that I put on. All right. I put it on like so. All right. Make sure it's tight around it. And this one will cover pretty much everything around me. All right. All right. This is like an N94 mask. But then I also have a N95 mask that I put on too. I put it around my head like this, go like this, and like that. Make sure it's tight. Now remember, the most important thing is don't touch your face when you go out. Even if you use hand sanitizer, if you don't have to touch your face, don't touch your face. And this is what I do every day since January, February, March, and April. Right now in April, I do this every day before I go out. And then I leave the house like this. All right. So this is what I do before I leave the house. So let's leave the house, and then we'll find out what I do when I come back. All right. So let's go out. See it. Alright, so now I'm back from the grocery store. I bought some stuff. What do I do first? Well, for one, don't touch your face still. I lay my groceries down to the side. Now before I touch my face, I keep a bottle of hand sanitizer right next to the door. So I squirt my hand, like so. All right. Then I go to the bathroom and wash my hands. All right, so I put hand sanitizer on my hand when I came into the house. Put my groceries down. Now, before I even do anything with my face, I come back here and I wash my hands. Okay, so I come to the faucet, I wet my hands. Now I use some hand sanitizing soap. Squirt it into the hand. Wash the top. Now I also wash the top part of my arm if I wear a short sleeve shirt. I wash all the way up to the elbow. Like so. Turn it on. Make sure I rinse well. Then I also use my bar soap. Wash my hands with this. Now this may be overkill, but I'd rather take this extra couple of minutes and make sure I get my hands nice and clean before I touch my face. Dry your hands. Okay, so my hands are washed, everything's clean. Now I take off my mask. There we go. Now, if you're wearing gloves when you first come into the house, make sure you take off your disposable gloves and toss them in the trash. All right, now with the mask, I say you can wear them about at least 2 to 3 days, then toss them away. But it depends how much contact you are outside. If you're just walking and you don't come in contact with nobody, then you can probably use it for a couple of days. If you're in a crowded area, then toss it in the trash and then switch out to a new mask. All right. So hands are clean. Let's go to the grocery and see what I do with the groceries. All right. So now you have your groceries. Now what I like to do, if I have a bottle or anything I could just run under the faucet, I would run it under the faucet under hot water. And run it under water. All right. Make sure it's nice and clean. And there we go. All right. Toss it off to the side. Then I usually wipe it down with a paper towel. Now, when you have stuff like this that you really don't want to get wet, right, because it's boxes or paper, what I like to do is get disinfectant wipes. Take one out. All right. This. Go all over the place. This. Now, the chances of catching COVID-19 on an actual surfacing is probably smaller risk, but it's always better to be cautious than anything. Wipe it down. Now, the question is, do you use the same wipe? No, all right? If you go into another product, now we used it on this side. Now, we could switch it to this side, but that's still cross-contamination. So, take this one away, throw it in the trash. Take a new one. And do the other item. Now, if you have a whole bunch of items, then I would say, if it's like box like this, run it under hot water because you don't want to use a whole bunch of disinfectant wipes if you have like almost 50 grocery items. All right. Now, you can also use baby wipes to wipe it down real quick, then use a dry cloth and dry it off. All right. That's what I do to make sure my items don't have any viruses on it. All right. Now you disinfect all your grocery items. Now, what I like to do is still, once I'm done with that, little hand sanitizer, put it over my hands again. Then, I wash my hands one more time. Then, I will try to touch my face then. After that. All right, so I come home, disinfect hands. Go to the bathroom, wash hands. Disinfect all the groceries. Disinfect the hands one more time with a hand sanitizer. Then wash my hands one more time. And that's it. All right. That's what I do every day for the last January, February, March, and April right now in China. All right, so let's talk about China. Now, most of my followers know that I do live in Beijing, China. And we started hearing the rumors about the virus down in Wuhan. Well, at least I did around about mid-January, right before the Chinese New Year. But by the time February rolled around, Beijing and most of China went in lockdown. All right. Only thing that was open were the grocery stores. That's it. Everything else was locked down, shut down. If it wasn't for food, it was closed. All right. Plus, they had where everybody had to wear a mask. If you were going to the grocery store, you could not go inside the store unless you had a mask. All right. And as February progressed, you start seeing different things in China. Most of the streets were empty in most of February. It's pretty much a ghost town. The only time you see people out is when they were going to the grocery store. Clubs, bars, anything with large group gathering was closed. All right. Now, as you see throughout China, they started putting up posters telling people what to do, like social distancing, wash your hands, take your temperature, all these things. When you walk around China, you see all these posters throughout everywhere. All right. And another thing that I thought China did really well is when you went into a store, you must have a mask and they take your temperature. Now, originally when they first started, they just had the regular thermometer to take your temperature. But now they have these machines, you stand in front of them and they take your temperature that way. Plus, in a lot of smaller stores, they'll take your temperature normal, like with a thermometer. Plus, you have to sign your name, give a phone number, your passport number if you're a foreigner, and if you were out of the country anywhere. So they have a log of everybody that goes into that store. So if somebody at that store gets an outbreak, they could call everybody and let them know to get tested or if they have any symptoms, which was pretty cool, I thought. And they implied a lot of different things. Like for a while, I always pay cash for everything when I go. But for some, like when I went to McDonald's, you couldn't buy food at McDonald's with cash. You had to use the machine, and then as it progressed, they got rid of the machine, and you had to do everything on your phone and have it delivered, or you could go pick it up. Now, most people in China use WeChat, so you had to use a digital pay to pay for most stuff here. At grocery store, you can still pay cash and stuff, but a lot of things were closed. Right? Now, when you went to the mall, everything was dead. Like the mall near me still had the stores open, but nobody was in the mall. And another thing, when you see people working that are working here in China, everybody wears a mask. Grocery store, they also wear gloves. So that's what I thought was very helpful, because if everybody's wearing a mask, it's a little harder to spread the virus. And that was some good things I thought China did. Now, was China perfect throughout the outbreak? No. There's been rumors that, the doctors, well, it's not rumors, we know it for a fact, that this doctor tried to warn government officials that there may be a new virus of an outbreak, and he got arrested for it. And then later on, he died of the virus. All right. So was China perfect on everything? No. No country's perfect on anything. And, China does control the media, so they could control the flow of how the virus is spread throughout the media. All right. But as a foreigner living in China, I did like how they locked everything down. I did like how they made everybody wear a mask. Take your temperature before you go into a store. Have your name written down, so if there is an outbreak in that store, they could call you and let you know, hey, check yourself. So these are some things that I thought China did right here in Beijing. All right. Now, we are only in January, February, March, April, 4 months into the virus pretty much, and everywhere in the world is devastated by it. All right. Now, should everybody follow Chinese rules and pretty much shut everybody down, tell everybody what to do? That's for our local governments in every country to decide. Do you want to do a complete lockdown of your country? I know in America they don't, so that's going to fall into our next segments. What I thought the United States should have done for the virus, because right now America is number one in people infected and deaths. All right, I know, but we're gonna go to that until our next segment. What I thought America should have done and what President Trump really should have done. All right, our last segment here on this video is America. Okay, America means a lot to me because I am an American, and when I read news about America, how we're getting the most infections, governors are shutting down cities, which I think is great, and doing lockdown, and they started doing lockdown around March. But then I see all these videos in America, people going out to the beaches, people still having parties, no social distancing or anything, or even wearing masks. And that enraged me as an American, because it's like, it's 1 month, people, for lockdown. I know you need to pay your rent. I know you need to pay your mortgage. You need to pay your electric bill. You need to pay, and this is all that the government should have done around January to help America deal with these problems. But President Trump in January thought it was a hoax, and he kept blaming everybody else for his mistakes. All right. Now, me personally, I like Republicans and Democrats, okay? Because I go both ways. I like both of them. Like, some years I like Republicans better. Some years I like Democrats better. But the thing is, President Trump, at least all the videos I've seen, write down in the comment if you agree or disagree with me. Everything Donald Trump does, it seems like he's always trying to pass the blame to the next person. Like, I was reading that, okay, he said that, oh, it's up to the states, governors to decide when to reopen the economy there. And then he retweets things and say, liberate Virginia, liberate all these different states, Minnesota, liberate Illinois. And it's like, really? So you say one thing, but then you do another thing. Now, as an American, if I was there, I would stay in the house. I would only go out for groceries and only the necessity, and just stay in the house. And I know that's lots of trouble with people who can't afford to stay in the house. They need their jobs. They have no savings. I've been there. All right. I've been here in China for what? February, March, April, almost 3 months with no pay from my job here. It's tough. But you need to ask yourself, you need to sacrifice some civil liberties in order to stay safe. Now, I will always sacrifice my civil liberties, especially if I have a family, and I do have a family, and I will sacrifice that. All right. Yes, you can't pay your bills, you can't do this, but what are the chances that your landlord is going to actually kick you out during this time? So that's what this is what I thought America should have done when I read about all this stuff. In January, I thought President Trump should have locked down America. That means no international flights into America unless you're an American coming back. If you're a foreigner, sorry, we can't have you here right now. Come visit us later after the COVID-19 is over. All right. He should have did that back in January, mid-January, or at least beginning of February. Lock down America. Nobody can come in unless you're an American. And even when the Americans are coming here, 20 days quarantine. All right. I don't mean at house, because you say, oh, be quarantined at your house, but they're going to take off some people, you know. Some people are that way. Quarantine in a special facility built near the airport to hold people until you check and test them. Now, another thing I thought they should have did was stop domestic flights, unless you're trying to get back to your state, and then shut down all borders to the states. All right. That means unless you live in that state, you can't come in. And if you are coming in, quarantine it for at least 14 days. But I know this seems extreme, but we live in extreme times right now. This has been one of the first times there was a major pandemic that broke out around the world. Last thing I remember was HIV. All right? And that killed a lot of people. But that was a little easier because You can only be transmitted through sex, blood, and stuff like that. Much harder to catch. Because you can just say, hey, no sex, no blood transfusion. But here, it's like a flu. I sneeze, you may catch it. I cough, you may catch it. You touch something, you touch your face, you may catch it. So it's a different type of virus. All right. So I know most of you may or may not agree with a lot of stuff I said here, but as an American, I know you may or may not agree with me. All right. So that's my thought. And as an American, I feel ashamed by how President Trump has been acting and stuff. Because you're the leader of our country. You shouldn't be acting like a 16-year-old girl on Twitter and saying different things than what you said in the White House press release. All right? Grow up. You are grown up. All right? So I know a lot of people may or may not like this video, but I'm here on a platform and I want to inform people that be safe. All right? Don't always try to take the easy way out. Don't go out and protest. Wear a mask. If you're going to protest, go ahead and protest. But wear a mask. Hell, bring some masks for other people to wear during the protest. That's your right to protest. And that's what makes us good as Americans, because we can do these things. But even then, you still have to practice common sense. All right? When I go to the grocery store, should I wear a mask? All right? Should I use hand sanitizer? All right? Because remember, guys, this ain't the Z virus that we all kind of hope for, the zombie virus, but when you die from COVID-19, you're not coming back. You're not going to be reanimated as a zombie. That's it. All right, now I always go off and say, I'm your host, JD Knows, but right now I'm going to give you my real name, all my followers. This is my real name. JD Knows is not my real name. It's what I used when I first started my YouTube channel, because my YouTube channel was supposed to be like a skit comedy like Saturday Night Live, and JD Knows was a character in the thing. But it changed, so now I'm giving my real name. My name is Ricky Knows, and I hope everybody, especially in America, my home country, and everybody around the world, be safe. All right? Practice social distancing. Wear a mask. Stay at home if you can. But if you can't, be safe when you go out. Use all the stuff that I told you that you need to have. Hand sanitizer, gloves, masks. All right? All right, I'm your host, Ricky Knows. And this was another episode of Knoles Cool Stuff. Be cool and be safe.